We've now concluded the public questions and moving straight on with item 1, which is the minutes of the previous meeting, held within pages 5 to 14 of the agenda pack. Our colleagues happy with a true and accurate record. Super, thank you. Sign those. Item 2, apologies for absence, please, Frida.
Thank you, Chairman. We've had apologies from Councillor Broadley-Ricks.
Super, thank you. Item 3, urgent business. I haven't been made aware of any through the officers or colleagues. Item 4, declarations of interest. Any declarations members wish to declare which are already known to us? If there are any items particularly, I know that Councillor Cowan and Jason raised around Breckland Bridge. I've already got those in writing. If there are any other members who wish, please raise them at the moment of time. Item 5, non-members wishing to address the meeting, you are always welcome, as always. Breckland councillors to ask any questions or contribute to any of the items in today's meeting. Chairman's announcements, I don't have any. Item 7, Breckland Community Funding Application, standard item. Councillor Webb, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Hopefully everybody can hear me. If not, can you ask them to stand up? If it's difficult to hear. The Queen's Platinum Jubilee Gold Street I want to talk about first. We've had 4 more approvals, and that is brilliant because, as I said at the end of the day, it shows how much take-up we've had for this for the bursary scheme. It leaves us £18,000. The bursary is held students studying a formal qualification in subjects that provide a contribution to enhance Breckland communities. So there's all sorts of things, well-being or enriching the environment. For instance, I'll give you one example, dog grooming. There's a certain lady who's going to be going forward to do dog grooming. So I think this is a really good initiative, and as I said, I'm pleased to see what the take-up is to date. Okay, so moving on, we're talking about the Inspiring Communities grants. We have 7 approved this time. And if you bear with me, I'm going to read through each one because it's very important and the comments that came back. The first one is for Ash Hill Parish Council for £5,000. The funding is needed to install 2 flat swings and a basket swing. And Councillor Eagle basically recommended this one and said, I am more than happy to support Ash Hill's application. I do hope it's appreciated that Ashhill is a very active village and now the size that many of Breckland's market towns were 40 years ago. Ashhill also has a lot of young families, and equipment such as this encourages families to go to the playing field and so promote healthy lives. It would be nice if this equipment is funded after the devastating fire that ripped through Ashhill to show that Ashhill is not forgotten. The second one is from Breckland Cricket Club for £4,735, and it's to help renovate the cricket pavilion. Councillor Crane has said, the cricket club has been a mainstay not only of Breckland but many villages in the surrounding areas for several generations. The club has 35 adult members, 16 ladies and 60 plus juniors of all ages. Users come from Deering, Breckland, Ashhill, St Tony, Watton, Letburn, Shipton and other surrounding villages. The accessibility of the club facilities is important to all committee, and it's becoming apparent at the Jubilee Faith that work is needed to be done on access to the building for older or disabled people, and the latest toilets are not in an ideal condition. The club not only continues with its mainstay as a cricket club, but also holds quiz nights, afternoon teas. The committee feel that that having better facilities mean that they can offer more of these types of events to the community. The nets are always available via use of the member of the public, and during COVID-19 it became apparent that families like to be able to get out and use them. This application aligns completely with Breckland District Council's Inspiring Communities outcome of recovery from COVID-19, addressing vulnerability and especially enhancing the health and well-being of our residents. The next one is for Dereham Deaf Social Club for £220. The funding is needed to provide free taster sessions in British Sign Language to Morrison staff, Tesco staff and to residents of Dereham. Councillor Digan supported this application and said, may I commend the application by Dereham Deaf Social Club for £240 to provide British Sign Language tasting sessions for staff. The club was launched last year to provide much needed support to the deaf people in Dereham and beyond. They aim to engage the hearing help for members. They meet monthly at the top of the social club. I've heard from a council colleague at the county that this group is very worthy of our support. The fourth application is from Breckland Grange, care home in Dereham, for £5,000, and it's to create a new community room. I supported this application. As ward member for the Breckland Grange complex, I totally support the application of £5,000 for the new community room. I understand the issues that the residents face during the COVID pandemic and the lasting impact that has resulted from being socially isolated. This will give a massive opportunity to improve their mental and physical health, resulting in less future health issues, a fact that is well documented. The fifth one is from New You Enterprises for £5,000, and it's to open a community clothes shop at the Charles Borough Centre. It's basically the comments from Councillor Jeremy said that he provided comments on himself and Councillor Chris Harvey. We're writing in support of the funding application for the New You clothing shop, who we believe are applying for funding from the Breckland Community Fund. It's well documented that things are going to be a difficult time for families in the coming month with the cost of living crisis. This new project will provide a really useful and practical form of support for local people. This will be a new service not available at the moment at the Charles Borough Centre and currently not available anywhere else over Breckland, and will complement existing support services locally. The next one is from the Norfolk Deaf Society for Norfolk. This is regarding, I think a lot of you might have heard of this, the Cut the Care project. Basically, what it is, the grant is regarding supporting the running costs of the mobile Cut the Care bus project in Breckland. I supported this one because, again, it's something that I've actually been to, seen what good it's doing in the community. I would like to express my full support for the Cut the Care project. I have witnessed the existing support provided and fully appreciate the increase of the hours provided, which is something which was in the proposal, provided with a purpose-built Cut the Care bus. The benefits of reaching people who are vulnerable and disadvantaged are many, and providing social and improving social isolation and loneliness has far-reaching implications with many being physically. The last application is from the Horticultural Industry Scheme for £4,998, and it's regarding engaging a team of 12 ex-offenders, homeless participants to assist vulnerable residents by transforming their gardens. Councillor Dowling has said the funding for this project will enable them to take on much more social work. This is a great help for those who struggle to manage their gardens due to ill health or disability. I'm pleased to see that how the scheme has grown since its inception, and I know that many people who have used their services are impressed by their hard work and friendly approach. It's a wonderful scheme, and it's very good that we can offer this support to the residents in this area. So that's all the applications that are put forward. Total awards to date is £57,834, which we've given to communities. It leaves 62,156 for the next 3 rounds. So, as I said, 2 more rounds. The next round will finish on the 9th of December. So please take that in your diaries. So if you have any organisations which could do with a helping hand to make things better for the community, please let us know. Thank you very much.
Lovely, thank you, Alison.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the next item, which is item 8, Quarter 1 Performance Report, and I'd like to invite Councillor James to present that.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm delighted to bring the Quarter 1 Performance Report in front of Cabinet today. This covers performance between April and June of this year. It was previously seen by the overview and scrutiny commission in July. Members, there are several questions regarding the report, including the challenges around customer calls. A detailed note has been now included with this report, setting out Quarter 1 performance in this area. As a result of feedback, the customer care team are also looking at further ways to provide information around customer call performance to that committee. Pleasingly, since the quarter one report, customer contact performance has significantly increased from August, as was expected following a number of new staff joining, filling those vacancies, along with new approaches to training new staff and also how incoming phone calls are allocated. For example, in August, the average wait time to answer phone calls was almost at target at 194 seconds. And to put that into context for everyone, in July it was 355. The Quarter 2 performance report will be seen by the Scrutiny Committee in October, and I'm happy to take any questions from my colleagues.
Lovely. Thanks, Jen. Any questions or comments from colleagues? This has already been to open scrutiny on the 1st of April and 30th of June. I've got Councillor Jerry, please, and Councillor Burns.
A couple of questions. The first is on flight ticket. Very pleased to see that there were 23 instances of flight ticket threshold for investigation. This is quite a high threshold because 21 of them resulted in successful outcomes. So I'm pleased that all the ones that meet the threshold are actually achieving a successful outcome. What I suppose I'm more interested in is how many did not meet that threshold, because what's really useful is to check actually how many instances of flight ticket there are. And how many actually are not meeting that threshold. It's pleased to see this is a prosecution, but I wonder if please you were aware how many didn't meet that threshold. And then in a vein really, on a separate line, there's a number of enforcement actions. There's no specific target, but it says enforcement action includes that isn't limited to fixed energy notice and warning letters, and is related to a wide variety of areas. I'm not sure how many enforcement actions represent a good thing, people are measuring KPIs, whether that's a good number or bad. But what I'd be particularly interested to know is in actually what areas they do relate to, and I suppose monitoring that over a period of time. Because again, what I'm really interested in is how many fixed energy notices weren't issued, but perhaps should.
Thank you for those questions, Councillor Jerry, and I should appreciate the lot. Bear with me 2 seconds, because I'm just seeing, I know I have seen some information that might be supportive. No, I don't have that information available to you. Do you have anything further that you could add to that at all? That we can follow up on. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great.
Lovely, thank you.
Yeah, so in relation to that, I think it's a really fair track that actually we will work a bit hard on that data set to allow us to understand how many reports to the council, how many of them in the council's direct responsibility for our land ownership, where we can take action, and then as you quite rightly said, what that threshold is, so that you've got a clear understanding that breakdown, how many we then pass to other partners, whether it's forestry commission, private landowners, or other local authorities, etc. So, yeah, really fair question, thank you. Councillor Burke.
Thanks, Julian. Mine's that. I picked it's the same one, it's very good. But it's a very slightly different way. So I looked at that. This is on page 23 of the agenda. Enforcement actions, that particular KPI. And it says in the text that that number of enforcement actions includes warning letters, which doesn't sound like enforcement to me. That sounds like an intent to enforce. So, about 21, how many were fixed penalty notices, how many were force actions, how many were warning letters, or and something else? Now, I have a separate question. Should we do that one first?
We'll do both together. I think the first session is very much the same. We won't have that data set available now, but we'll work through that to see how we can present it differently for the Open Scrutiny Commission for the quarter 2.
Okay. So page 25, the call centre performance, I'm picking that up again, and I'm looking at the text alongside it. But we know that this has been a poor situation for a long time, and I'm pleased to hear that it's getting better. I'm looking forward to seeing that actually in the data come October. But it says in the text alongside there, on page 25, it's important to remember when considering abandonment rates that residents may choose to request a callback receive automated advice which answers their query, or choose to perform their request in an alternative way, e.g. through the website. If we're going to put that text in there, have we got some evidence to actually support it? Because it feels like an excuse.
Thank you, Councillor Burke, for your questions. And obviously, as the Chairman has initially indicated on that first part of your question, they're very specific. So we come back to those responses if that's right. Thank you. In terms of excuses, Claire, is there something that you'd like to pick up on that? Because I know we've had some real conversations about this side of things. And actually, we're very mindful that from the challenge that we get from the Open Industry Commission, but we need to have those KPIs and work and demonstrate. So it is something that we're working on as we see the development of the call centre team. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Absolutely, thank you. That's what we're looking at. It is to make sure they are the best ones to show that actually you can see it. We've seen some really great improvements in the performance. I mean, certainly over August, we've seen a considerable improvement. So, October.
I'm looking forward to that. It's the fact that it's the evidence-based is the core of my comment here. And that's what I'm asking for. Where is the evidence?
We'll take that on board.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Byrne. And part of the work we're doing through our most recent activities, particularly around the peer review and the activity Claire, Jason and Jane are leading on. And I think the language is given an indication. It's not a statement of fact, it's given that indication it may be. But we've got some heavy lifting to do. And part of that is going to be, as we begin to see that improvement in the customer contact centre, those permanent FTEs coming forward, to be able to release some of that capacity to do phone back services to those who are undertaken other service provision, to say, actually, did you call the council? And if so, you abandoned the call. Why was that? Was it because you were perfectly waiting for the phone? Or was it because you then were able to access online or you asked for a callback? Whatever that may be. As it stands, the current infrastructure, that framework, doesn't allow us to understand if the call is abandoned, why that call is abandoned. So we have to do some of that manual work of activity of using our staff to then undertake that research phase. It will be a very small percentage in the litmus test to work out whether our view may be correct, but it's work once that capacity is released within the customer contact centre, because our focus right now is delivering a good service by improving that staff position within the call centre. We'll be able to undertake that. I don't think it's going to be ready for Q2, Councillor, but it's absolutely on Jane's, Claire and Jason's radar to make sure that at the end of this financial year that we're able to give some better evidence when the Open Scrutiny Commission decides to reset all its KPIs for the next year. Any other questions? Mark?
Thank you very much, Sam. I'm really embarrassed about what I'm going to say. I'm difficult to say, but I think it's a moment to say it. I am deaf. I'm hearing greatly different. I do use hearing aids, of course. In this meeting, I have been taken to hear what Councillor Webb or Councillor James were saying. They both speak clearly. Both of them, I know them, they speak very clearly, without confusion. Probably because of our lip reading unconsciously. Can I ask please, everyone possible can use this thing, what I've got in my hand? It does make a huge difference to at least one person in the room, and maybe there are others who might also be helped. Thank you.
Mike, sorry and apologies. We're sort of in the hands of the facility management team here of the infrastructure they put in place, but we will pass that along. There you are. So hopefully you can hear me when I'm droning on. So apologies for that. And we're more than happy to pick anything up offline. If you did miss anything, and bring other members of the department or council. I think it was a hidden compliment somewhere. Thank you, Mike. So for colleagues, both officers and council colleagues, councillors, if you've got a question or you respond to a question, please just wait for the microphone to be passed down the line. Any other questions on the course one performance report, just on my skin beginning to return back to normal power? No? Jane, are you happy to?
So taking those points on board, using the microphone. Yes, the members of the Cabinet are requested to note the report, please.
Thank you. Move on to item 9, which is the quarter 1 financial report for 22-23. Councillor Cowan, present please.
Thank you, Chairman. So the report before us is for noting and reflects our first quarterly forecast financial position as at 30th of June this year. And as colleagues are aware, forecasting is not a precise science, and as the year progresses, the certainty increases and the risk factors decrease over that time. The guidelines for guiding treasury reporting have changed, and as noted in 1.1, and those new prudential indicators are included. The headlines of the report before us are as follows. Under revenue, the full year outturn shows an increase above budget, within services of 122,000, rising to 304,000 when efficiencies are included. Full details are shown in the appendices. 61% of efficiencies have been achieved to date, and all have been worked through and will be reported once complete. Increased demand in the housing sector are being seen across the district, and this is also a national feature. NMDR income is tracking budget forecasts, and the general fund is sitting above our minimum level, 2.8 million. In capital terms, our initial forecasts show a spend of 11,318,000, which is 101% of budget, and that's detailed in 1.8. And in the Treasury, the forecast below budget spend of 39,000, shown in 1.9. And all the details of the variances that are recorded there are shown in the appendices. Thank you.
It's lovely, thank you. Ali, anything else to add? No, thank you. So any questions or comments from Cabinet colleagues first of all, please? There are none. So I've got Terry Jeremy first, and then I've got Councillor Burke to follow.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for your update. As usual, I'm drawn to table 2 and the variances, and the 2 big numbers at the bottom particularly jump out. Firstly, the unexpected income from commercial property. Obviously, from a budget point of view, it's very welcome news that there's additional income there. This offsets the other overspends. That's a significant number. I don't think I've seen such a large amount of income. Was that because we didn't budget the income this high, or was it being overly pessimistic, or was that genuinely new income perhaps that we genuinely didn't anticipate? And then the one below, reprofiling of budgets. I'd be grateful for a bit of a definition as to what we mean by reprofiling budgets. It says here, as a result, all budgets have been reviewed and reprofiled spend where possible. And I suspect the question would be, what are we not going to be doing that we originally budgeted to do to find that additional £340,000?
Lovely. Thanks, Terry. I'll ask Brad just to respond to the first one in the absence of Councillor Hewitt around commercial property, and I'll come back to Councillor Cowan for the second question. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, can you hear me okay? Yeah, obviously we plan for events in the commercial property portfolio as best we possibly can. I know that there are events happening with our lease renewals, lease events, etc. And we try and predict those, but obviously, we're not operating in the commercial marketplace, and obviously sometimes those events don't happen in the right way. Sometimes they're positive, sometimes they're negative. In this particular case, the event we thought might happen has allowed us to sort of take extra income from the property portfolio, as you're now seeing in the result.
Reprofiling budgets. Reprofiling budget. The sort of all that question really there was about what I was going to do. I don't think that's the right question to put, actually. We are not going to give. What we have done is respond to its audit questions, and we have looked at our preventive and maintenance, moving that around as well, because some of those aspects of what we do are not time critical in any particular year or during. But Ali sitting here alongside me could have been actually fill in any detail that you may wish. But I have to say, because we're sitting here in Bedford, you can't actually access the file structure back in Breckland.
Thanks, Terry. As Councillor Cowan has said, this is mainly about reacting to a situation we found ourselves in, and it's actually a really positive story because it means we've managed to move the resources into areas where it's needed, such as temporary accommodation. So we have looked at things like our internal audit contract and our less risk areas where we can move the audits forward to another year, or where they've had good results in the past and we're not doing them each year. We've looked at our proactive maintenance, which perhaps doesn't need to be done this year and can wait another year. So in terms of what's not being done, it's not really anything which will affect the performance to date, and putting resources where it's really needed, such as the areas. Like I say, like lighting.
Sorry. Thank you.
This must be a really obvious question because my question is exactly the same as Terry's. So our eyes must be drawn to exactly the same point. This free profile. Anyway, I have another one. It's about the prudential indicators. So this is a new reporting part. It would be useful if we could have a little bit more detail as to exactly what's included in these, how they're calculated, and what the implications for each one is. Because this is a new thing, I think that would be useful to actually have that as published information that everybody could see. Is that possible?
The answer is, I'm sure it is. Yeah. But it is a very detailed question. As I'm sure you're aware, something which I keep in my back pocket on a daily basis. But I'm sure that Alison will be able to give us the information.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Sure. Any other questions on quarter one financial reports? No?
Just for noting that, Chair.
Lovely, thank you, Colin, tapping the notes. Super, thank you. Let's move on to item 10 then, which is the Ashborough Leisure Project, and Councillor Webb to present, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me better now soon. Right, okay. These two exciting new plans for Ashborough for an enhanced leisure provision would see major investment delivered in Ashborough for the benefits of local residents. As a council, we are committed to supporting residents' health and well-being across Breckland. And this upgraded sports centre will put excellent fitness and leisure services right in the middle of the town of Hull Street. The site currently comprises of a sports hall and some basic gym equipment. The expansion would redevelop the gym, the equipment levels, and also the fitness classes to be held on site in the future. The requirements for this new leisure provision are driven by demand data considering current levels and also allowing for an element of future growth or demand. The project is expected to cost around 2.6 million. We are seeking to utilise the Section 106 provision and use 650,000 from reserves. In addition, we are requesting the release of 200,000 from the Inclusive Growth Reserve for district-wide sports provisions, which could possibly enable a 3G football pitch element of the project to progress. Therefore, I would like to recommend in line with the report the following on block. Would you like me to read them all out, Chairman?
Yes, please.
Okay. It's agreed to progress the project using the Academy site and use the initial plans to produce detailed designs, instruct the necessary surveys to work through pre-planning, planning submission, procurement of the main contract, and reach to the point of delivery. To agree to fund risk at risk for Section 106, 1,640,680. That full council agree to the progression of the Ashborough Leisure Project as outlined above. To approve the capital budget of £2,612,900. That's funding and associated funding as detailed in the Proforma B, which is Appendix E. To release 650,000 from the Inclusive Growth Reserve for the Ashborough Leisure Centre and seek contributions from interested parties to cover the residual funding requirements. And finally, to release £200,000 from the Inclusive Growth Reserve for district sports provision and delegate authority to the Executive Member for Health and Communities and the Assistant Director for Contracts and Operations to allocate these resources to designated projects. Thank you very much.
Lovely, thanks Alison. James, anything to add?
Project bit deliverable identified a really hard thing. It's not only going to meet the demand that we have now, but it's going to meet demand from the expansion of that.
Great, thank you. Any questions from Cabinet colleagues? Keith or Vera, anything from either one of you? Julie, raising across, Steve.
Chairman, I thoroughly recommend recommendations. This has been put aside and we start with things like that. 2019, the provision of this act ideal for the town centre. It would be able for Breckland as well as that. Place the car park. Lots of people put the tree back in the middle. That is important. Argument and report and work with the officers that we can.
Lovely, thanks Keith. Vera, anything?
To echo what Keith said, it's absolutely marvellous for Borough. Soon it happens better. And the fact that they've got the 3G, where it's the outdoor all-weather pitch, is a real bonus. Very much appreciated. Thank you for all your hard work.
Lovely, thank you both. If there are no other questions from colleagues, there are 6 recommendations. One is recommendation for us, the other are 4 recommendations from Cabinet to Council. Alison's moved those recommendations. Cabinet colleagues happy to agree? All those in favour?
Agree.
That's unanimous. That is then moved. Thank you, Alison. We move on to item 11, which is the Breckland Bridge Business Plan Report. I'm pleased that I've got Steve Gale and Stuart Bisley and David Winch here from Land Group seeing this. Just giving some time for Jason and Phil to leave. Obviously, in the absence of Councillor Paul Hewitt, who has provided a statement which he's asked me to read on his behalf, which I'm comfortable to do as the chair. So, apologies for not being with you at Cabinet today to present the report regarding Breckland Bridge in person. That said, I was keen to make sure I could highlight to you my views as a Cabinet member regarding this important activity of the Council. Through Breckland Bridge Partnership, we continue to deliver and create benefits for both residents, directly and indirectly, through advice, input, support, and the opportunity for much-needed homes. Your approval of this business plan will support our partnership to continue its value-added work, enabling residents to thrive. That said, undertaking construction activity is not our core business, and the property development activities are not without risk and not always universally popular either. We must balance the risks that we face, especially in these difficult market conditions, with the opportunities that Breckland Bridge provides. As an initiative entrepreneurial council, we recognise the benefits for our residents through our joint venture, and I want to highlight 3 areas in the business plan that address both the risks and the benefits, and highlight why, as a result, you should give your plan the full support with today at Cabinet. Firstly, our ambitious business plan. In working as a council to get the best return for residents from our land assets, the ambition of this business plan is to deliver just that. There is a clear commercial focus in Breckland Bridge's vision, as previously approved by members of this council, to ensure that every land and property asset under our control works hard for the benefit of every resident. The business plan, along with our ambition for all our property related to activities of the council, retains its focus of our priority aim. However, we recognise that the property and land of the council ownership can also help local communities meet their objectives. And we continue with our desire to be flexible, agile in this approach to deliver a real partnership on how, where, and which sites in our ownership come forward for review and possible development. I would urge all members of this council to engage locally on sites as they come forward to enable us to respond to the variety of views in our communities which you represent and help shape the decisions that are made as a result. Secondly, the outputs of the joint venture produce. Our current focus in the business plan is to use the availability of our property assets for residential housing delivery. Whilst we're not a large house builder in the local area, being a partner in Breckland Bridge means we can lead in the district on good design, sustainability standards in our own schemes. This is something that members and communities continue to demand, and we've heard today, and through our actively participating within the market, we can use our direct experience to challenge other developers within Breckland to ensure that they are lifting their standards to meet ours. As a result, our work gives us collectively a deeper appreciation and understanding of our wider remit as the local planning authority, as well as increasing our influence through initiative, sharing and partnership agreements with the landowners, developers and our communities. Thirdly, by driving that environmental change. The business plan highlights those areas where Breckland Bridge recognises the impact that construction and development has both on the environment and on the business itself. Over the last year, Breckland Bridge has developed a new environmental policy, which is now included as part of our business plan here today, as we heard from Ian earlier. The policy seeks to minimise the impact, comply fully with legislation, improve standards, consider sustainability within every aspect from design through to completion, and to protect the environment at every stage of the development. A further aim of this policy is to target homes built by Breckland Bridge to have an A EPC rating. Application to this policy will not be without challenge, but I am particularly pleased to see that this aspect promoted within the partnership and the business plan, ensuring that it's recognised as a local leader in meeting our environmental and sustainability targets moving forward. In summary, despite the current difficult market conditions, our Breckland Bridge partnership continues to deliver and create important benefits for residents and for us. And the business plan helps to focus and direct our ambition and shape those benefits. I urge all Cabinet members to support and approve the business plan extension to enable this important partnership to continue its value-added work. Thank you. So that was Councillor Paul Hewitt's brief opening statement. I don't know if Steve, you have anything else to add? No? Stuart or David? No? So any questions from Cabinet colleagues?
Just observation, Chairman, because I did see ladies from the environmental groups have been here to hear that. They would completely understand the title that we are, I think, throughout the sustainability agenda. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions from the floor? I've got Councillor Burke. Mix it up. Sorry, you keep seeing Councillor Burke, so we'll mix it up. You shouldn't share your homework.
We haven't, have we? Thank you. So that's good statements in some ways, but it's also caged in maybes. I'm thinking here, we have a policy which plans to comply with all legislation. Surely we have to comply with the legislation, full stop. There's no option there. And if this is an aim to be EPC A rated, but this is the one opportunity that we have. We have really good control here to ensure that this development is a gold standard. You've spoken about it before being a gold standard. So can we take this to the next step and make sure that it is not just aim, but actually apply it so that we do get proper, environmentally aware, secure, insulated homes.
Ralph?
I'll take your point on board, Councillor Burr. Obviously, having an environmental policy in place, very strong environmental policy in place for our joint venture partnership is really important, both for the council and obviously the shareholder that we're working with. We actually try and go further than that if we can. We try and exceed where we can, and that is what we're trying to do. And the homes we've got coming through at the next scheme will be A rated, and they'll include installation, etc. that you've sort of identified. So the policy is to aim. We can't always obviously accept that we will get that on every single scheme, and that's why it's an aim. But we will try and exceed that where we can do it according to how the scheme, the viability of the scheme works.
Thank you. Councillor Jeremy?
Thank you, Chairman. Fortunately, Tim didn't raise the one I wanted to raise, so I couldn't raise it. Yes, I'm really pleased actually that Paul made the link with the question earlier, because absolutely this is a huge opportunity for Breckland to have direct influence on the quality of homes from the environmental point of view. There's two other points where I think actually we should be market leaders, if you like, in this regard. Firstly, around consultation. The first we as local members should hear about proposed developments isn't when the planning application is submitted. It should be way in advance. Local councillors, local members should be consulted and genuinely help to shape these proposals. And that would be really beneficial for Breckland to set the standard for levels of engagement and consultation, and also to actually have the plans reflect that consultation and amended, not just as a sort of process and a tick box exercise. The other is around tenure. We know as a council where the demand is. We know that there is demand for one-bedroom properties. We know bungalows, particularly in Bedford, there's a huge demand. I would really encourage us to shape the design and building homes to fit the demand, but also tenure around shared ownership, affordable housing, social housing. Obviously, you've got to consider viability and all these other commitments, and building them to a home standard, a high standard is not cheap. But if we can achieve that and have a mix of tenure to support local residents who really want to get onto the property ladder, want to have a home that matches income, that would be really beneficial too. So tenure and consultation would be key for me to be adopting as sort of principles going forward.
Thank you, Jeremy. What we continue to do?
Yeah, happy to comment on that. Thank you, Councillor Jeremy. In terms of consultation, yes, we try and obviously consult as early as we possibly can in the process in terms of activity through Breckland Bridge. We try and consult with parish and towns as early as we can with the proposals that come forward if they're development schemes. We have this consultation if we're actually doing obviously land disposals, then we always consult with ward members anyway as part of our constitution. And as you quite rightly then say, there's a third element which is planning commission, there's the planning process. So I think there are several levels of consultation sort of like built in, but we'd be welcome to have obviously conversations with parishes where there's land directly in their areas. The other point was about demand and flexing the demand according to meet the needs. I think you mentioned it, you answered your own question. There are a number of aspects that we need to take into consideration. Demand is one of them, what the market conditions are like, both like sales, both in terms of construction costs, risks, etc. And we have to make sure that we have viable schemes coming forward. So we always do look at what's going on in the marketplace, we always do look at what the demand is very, very carefully. We work with a lot of experts in the field to sort of work out what's going to work and what's not going to work. And then we try and make the schemes obviously fit all of that information, all of that data and that information. So we do try and, as much as we can, flex around that. But I'm just going to take your point on board in terms of sort of like the local demand. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Just in relation to those sites of death across the district, if full council agrees, if cabinet agrees to recommend a full council, and the council agrees, we'll share the extract of those small sites and large sites, which are the appendix to all members, absolutely make that right and centre to start those conversations early. You've seen obviously within the business plan, those sites which are already in train, obviously the next stage of those are all to come, but at least giving local members that wider awareness so that they can start to put the figures out to what that could look and feel like, so that on that early stage. So thank you. Councillor Burns.
Just a quick clarification. An EPC A rating is not zero carbon. It's a very long way of zero carbon. So we just need to bear that in mind when we're considering this, that we've still got a long way to go, much further than just an EPC A.
David, as a sort of technical individual, are you happy to sort of respond in a bit more detail around EPCs at all? Sorry to bounce you, but you're in the room. I think you come along to beautiful Thetford to not speak.
Yeah, EPCs are an easy understood in order to get an impact, sometimes it's plans and legislation, we've done all of this all environmental reduce carbon zero is very difficult to achieve because of the building materials, concrete, bricks, glass, all create huge amounts of carbon in manufacture. And that has to be reflected in the house that you build. So it's very, very difficult to make carbon zero. People often achieve it by assessing the manufacturers. We try the best we can sourcing materials to get as low carbon as carbon zero is very difficult to achieve and to prove, purely because the materials that we have to build bring them to society. Yes, we are constantly aware that we can keep us lower zero. Which is better than most houses.
Lovely. Thanks, David. And I'm sure that if perhaps a follow-up question around the detail between carbon neutral properties to EPCA ratings that the chairman of the commission would be delighted to call in. I know that you'll be present after the meeting if you want to continue it, but for the purpose of where we are today, the recommendation is to full council where we can follow up in more detail, and I think maybe we could extract some of that when we present to the next full council meeting, the cabinet and agreement today, to give some assurance to council first about some of the challenges you've found and some of the mitigations you've done while working with that supply chain to mitigate carbon offset as required, as you mentioned, through those materials of glass, brick, concrete, etc. So for now, new questions from colleagues. The recommendation is presented as the report. Our colleagues happy to approve that recommendation? Thank you. Any against? No, that's carried. So that's now moving to full council. Thank you, Ali. To move on to item 12, which is the Breckland local plan partial review. Councillor Sarah, present.
Thank you very much. This report relates to the current round of consultation taking place with a single policy partial update of the local plan. You'll be aware that the current round of consultation on the single policy review ended last Friday. You'll be aware that the current round of consultation on the single policy review ended last Friday. That was agreed by Cabinet to be the Regulation 19 consultation, leading then to submission to the Secretary of State in early November. During the consultation period, the Council received a single correspondence which asked whether the Regulation 18 consultation should have been undertaken first. On receipt of this correspondence, officers sought advice. The advice concluded that whilst the Regulation 19 consultation had asked the same questions as the Regulation 18 consultation would, and that the issues had been set out clearly in the earlier Cabinet papers, it would make sense, given only a minor impact on the timetable, to convert the earlier consultation into a Regulation 18 consultation, carry out a new Regulation 19 consultation, and combine all responses received when submitting the document for submission in late November. The impact on the timetable because of this is not significant. To facilitate this process, the report seeks delegated authority for the Deputy Chief Executive in agreement with myself to agree any responses to comments received during the previous round of consultation, to agree an amended local development scheme and to authorise a new Regulation 19 consultation having regard to any comments received during the latest consultation period. Following the end of the new consultation, a partial update will come back to Cabinet for agreement before it is submitted to the Planning Inspectorate. I would therefore ask members to support the recommendation.
Lovely, thank you, Sarah. Any questions from Cabinet colleagues? No, any questions from fellow Breckland members? Councillor Burt, please.
Thank you. So, considering that this has actually been called in to overview and scrutiny, overview and scrutiny asked it to be pushed back to Cabinet all those many months ago, you would have expected every I had been dotted and every T crossed, and yet we find ourselves in this position. That should be worrying to those in this room. If somebody else outside the council can just raise a query like this, and actually this could thwart our whole plan. Are there any others? Are we assessing this properly? Crucially though, I've got to today, I'm thinking, oh, right, cabinet meeting, this is what's come up. Why has there not been a briefing? Why have opposition members not been involved and informed and being kept in the loop?
So in relation to your second part of the question, I'll pick up shortly, but in relation to the first part, it's technical, so I'll either ask Simon or Rob to... Thank you, Simon.
Thank you, Chairman. In response to your question, Councillor Burt, what I would say is that the Council undertook the Regulation 18 consultation in a bid to encompass both elements of the regulation process. What this is a risk moderation response to the position that was raised by the representation, and what we're seeking to do is ensure that if, and it's a big if, an inspector were to raise this during an examination, then we have dealt with it at this stage, because if we did it through examination, the inspector could not remedy it. So it is a risk moderation, Councillor, that's all. Thank you.
So you have a response to the other question in relation to... No, so in relation to speaking to opposition members, Councillor Burt, the report today is just for us to note. Ultimately, there is no formal decision, the formal decision is just as enacted from Simon. It's dealing with that mitigation of risk. Ultimately, the framework we decided as a council, the position, the timeline will slip right somewhat, but not the outcomes we're trying to ultimately achieve. So today, as always, there is no briefing to all members, there's no briefing to opposition colleagues. This is a all-call sign brief which is taking place now, which will allow all members, if ratified by Cabinet, to update on the position of where we are moving forward. The next briefing session for the local plan is in the diary. That's been committed for all members, and we'll then bring all members up to speed, not just on the full review, but the partial review as well. If there's something within here which you have better knowledge of than the officers, where this is going to thwart what we're trying to achieve, I'll be most welcome to hear it. The professional advice I'm getting from officers is it's not, and as you heard from our Director of Planning, that this is just to deal with the mitigation, that big question mark if, and the planning inspector is not my biggest friend in the world, because I don't think they deal with local democracy very well, just in case that he challenges what we're trying to achieve. Any other questions from colleagues? No? Sarah, do you want to move the recommendations, please? Have you read them out already?
No. Right, okay. So recommendation is to delegate to the Deputy Chief Executive an agreement with myself to make any changes to the proposed wording of the partial review consultation that may be considered necessary following the end of the current consultation and having regard to any representation received, to approve and publish an updated local development scheme, and to agree to publish and invite representations upon the local plan partial update document for a 6-week period in accordance with Regulation 19 of the Town and Country Planning, Local Planning England Regulations 2012. Thank you.
So we've got recommendations as presented by Councillor Suggett. All those Cabinet colleagues in favour? All those, that is unanimous. That's moved, thank you very much. Item 13, which is the corporate peer challenge. Update report is presented in pages 96 to 122. So just to talk through wider than that, members of the council will be aware we had the corporate peer challenge. Some of those members of the council will have been involved. Opposition group leaders were invited to meet with the corporate peer team. What this ultimately is members from the sector, both politicians and local government officers, coming into the council and ultimately holding up a mirror. Recognising and reflecting and acknowledging what the council does well, but also raising that mirror to say, have you considered doing things differently? Because what we're hearing, there may be opportunity for improvement. This is at no point the sector telling the sector what to do. This is the sector supporting the sector. And that's why it's a really important activity and something which both myself as leader of the council and Maxine as the chief executive embraced, and so did all of the council, both members and officers. The report is the report from the Local Government Association. We have no ability to redact that. That is what they have decided amongst themselves as that peer team from the Local Government Association. That is therefore presented today. The actions on from that fall now to the Chief Executive to confirm that action plan and to work through that action plan ahead of the 6-month review, where the peer team will come back to the council, speak to colleagues again, both members, opposition group leaders, officers and partners, to establish whether they are confident that the council is working through the action plan in a timely manner and offer any further suggestions which are required. So we're happy to take any questions. I know that there was a all briefing member session which took place last week, and this is a live piece of work which we will continue to do. This isn't something we've now received, and we will park the action plan as a live document where members will be fully briefed and kept up to speed either through the cabinet and or through overdue scrutiny. And I know that the opposition group leaders, through their regular meetings with the chief executive, will be updated accordingly. And of course, any members who have questions can raise them with myself or the chief executive at any time. So we're happy to take any questions from cabinet colleagues on the peer review report.
Just to say that this is the best peer review I've ever seen since I've been a councillor. I've been a councillor quite a long time. The only other thing that I think I would just like to add is that Peter, I've got his surname, I should really know, Fleming, actually went beyond what he should have done when he was here in Thetford. I saw him actually go up to, I think it was 7 individuals, and asked them what they thought of Breckland. So this challenge actually did go on the street as well, Joe. Thank you.
No, thank you. So questions from other colleagues? Councillor Jones, please.
Thank you, Chairman, and I was grateful for the briefing last week, so thank you for the team that pulled that together. I've got 2 points I want to make. The first was on what I consider to be the most important recommendation, which is number 4, and it says, consider how to mobilise all members around developing and delivering the Council's priorities. It's been a frustration of mine that we've got 49 elected members on Breckland. They have a wide variety of knowledge and skills. There's some clever people on the council, and I've always been frustrated that we don't use that knowledge and expertise as much as we could do. And I think that's sort of summarised recommendation 4. You'd expect me to say that as an opposition councillor. I'd like to be more involved in the decision making. Thank you very much. But it's not just in the opposition; it's the whole council. And I would really implore you as leader and the cabinet as a whole to look at how we can better take all members along on this journey. Because the report talks clearly about how amongst the staff team there is a clear Team Breckland approach. It doesn't say anything about members other than the senior members about their involvement and engagement as Team Breckland, and I think that's a real big missed opportunity. The second is around contractors, and I made the point last week at the briefing. A significant amount of the services that Breckland delivers is delivered through contractors, big contractors. And certainly when I had the opportunity to sit down with the peer review team, that was the big difference for them. These guys see lots of other councils and how they work, and there's a greater proportion delivered in-house. If we as a council are to get best value and the best quality of services for our residents, it will be through those contractors because they deliver them. And how we monitor, evaluate, challenge and make sure we get best value for money is absolutely crucial. And I think that's missed in this peer review somewhat. It talks about what we deliver, and our employed staff directly do a fantastic job, and that's highlighted in the peer review. But what's missing for me is the contractors or partners, as they're referred to in the report, because they deliver the lion's share of the work. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. So just in work backwards. So I know that when I had the conversation with Peter Fleming, who was from my side of the team, he absolutely challenged quite rightly on some of that historical positions around contract monitoring contract, management and that service delivery. And Peter, you know from, we've always been around local government for a long time, went through our media history and actually challenged both Max and I around how we've come about to what is an improved position. Not great, absolutely, we acknowledge that we have to continue to strive for excellence. And some of the work which the peer team were reassured was the position around the Open Scrutiny team, that task and finish group, looking at that service delivery, particularly around waste and street scene, not the contract itself, but actually what does it mean for residents and businesses. And part of that feedback which Max and I got was you don't have to have formal framework to be able to do that. How are you continuing to do that? Through your BAU and ensuring all services of the council are feeding in when one impacts the other. Just because it's provided by somebody else, it is still a council service provision, and making sure that they're lifting their standards in line with what Max has done through Team Breckland. Recommendation 4, I was never privy to what you actually said to Councillor Rodwell, and that's right and proper. That's a conversation between you and him as the opposition peer lead. But one of his challenges was actually you've got a really embracing group across the council from those 4 different political groups who have signed up to their organisations. How are you bringing them into the fold to one, understand those challenges and how you, as the council leader, the chief executive, attempt to overcome them? And I understand that one of you highlighted some of the work we did through the pandemic around those early on conversations around budget, as that's what we want more of, but actually need it more often. And that wider position around engagement to how does the council set its priorities and focuses moving forward, beyond that statutory KPIs. It's something Max and I have taken on board, and through the work Jane James is doing around our performance piece, there was an item coming forward in November to work around how has the council done and performed. So we've asked for that to be paused and work out how through the corporate plan review we can ensure that members early on are able to feed in their local concerns and issues to make sure that that corporate plan, as adopted by the new council in 2023, can ensure that all groups, all residents and businesses are reflected in that moving forward. So yeah, we haven't got it perfect, it's okay, but we've still got some room for improvement. And I think the corporate peer review, as Paul said, has allowed us that opportunity to do that. And I know the conversations you had with Councillor Robert are absolutely intrinsically, because he back-briefed me and Max every day around some of the things you and your colleagues were saying, so thank you. Any other questions or comments at all? No, so the corporate peer report is for us to note. Colleagues happy to note? Thank you. So that moves us on to item 14 then, which is the date of the next meeting. The date of the next meeting will be on Monday the 21st of November in Swaffham. The reason for we're a bit out of sync, but that being Swaffham Town Hall. Once again, there'll be that opportunity for public questions commencing at 9:30. The main meeting will then commence at 10. All members of the Cabinet and members of the senior leadership team will be present afterwards if members of the public and your district colleagues have any further questions. Can I thank you all so much for engaging today, and I hope you have a good rest of the day and the week. Thank you.